Alrighty, welcome to a quick breakdown of options. We're going to look at the Robinhood platform here. All I've done is from the main page, bottom left tab, took the top right corner spyglass and searched. And all I looked up was SPY, the S&P 500. And I'm going to hit trade options. And right here, we get the option strategy builder page. You can pretty much ignore this if you're just going to be doing what we do here in the server, which is buy to open positions only, meaning we are not selling to list any contracts on the market for people to buy from us. We are only buying calls, buying puts, and then doing what's called selling to close those positions, which just means, hey, we don't want to exercise these contracts. We could talk about that a little bit later, but we want to instead sell this back to the open market to collect our initial investment and hopefully, right, every single time the profit that's sitting on top. So again, we're buying to open, selling to close, option contracts only. And so what that would be is a long call or long put essentially, but we're not going to go too in depth on that. Don't want to confuse you. Again, this is a quick breakdown. So calls, okay, means the stock price, in this case, price of the S&P 500 SPY has to go up in order for us to see profits, okay? That would be, again, here, buy calls, all of these contracts. As we go to the cheaper contracts, which are worthless, we do not purchase worthless contracts. It's going to have a very, very high volatility, low delta, not worth it. And you don't have to get the most expensive contract either. As a side note, the higher you go, you'll notice we'll look at D is delta for dollars, which is essentially how much you'll collect in profit for every dollar that the stock price moves in the direction you need, or every dollar will tell you how much you're losing there in delta if it's going the opposite direction. Again, calls, we pick up a call up is what we need share price to do in the direction we need it to go. $85 on the dollar is what it looks like this will give us. This call here, 328. But if you notice, that was, what was that? The delta here is 86, 505 and 504 there, 86 delta. So you notice $100 difference there. One is $1,477, and this one here is $1,577. So $100 difference for the exact same delta. That's why we do not buy super expensive contracts. So it's best to stay roundabouts where the share price is. So what we call the first contract that's out of the money, and these are out of the money, meaning cheaper contracts. The share price has not reached these strike prices yet. You see on the left, those are strike prices. And then this is in the money here at the bottom, which is just showing you the more expensive contracts because, again, share price currently is $519.49, meaning it has surpassed these contracts. And so these are the in the money call contracts. If we go to put, you'll notice the prices are flipped. We now have more expensive contracts up top because these are considered in the money for puts, just meaning, again, the share price has fallen below. Okay, share price down there, we see $519.49. It has fallen below all of these strike prices or contracts on the left-hand side here. And then again, they're more expensive because of that. With puts, we want share price to go down. And so the farther the share price falls from our contract strike price, the more in the money or the more profit we'll have, which you can see these contracts have moved about 10% on the higher end, 11%. And look at that, it's barely in the money. Few contracts deep. Again, as long as you're buying around the share price, if you don't have to go too deep. We just saw the delta will normally be the same for the more expensive contracts. And again, we never want to go too cheap because these are practically worthless. You can see some movement there, but really generally overall, no movement for these smaller contracts. 50% sounds great. It looks like they did climb a bit, but again, the delta we're working with here is less than $1 for every dollar move. So it's not really worth it to purchase those cheaper contracts. Again, this first out of the money put contract here, delta on the dollar, $52 for every dollar that SPY moves down. Because again, this is a put, so you would be earning about $52 on this contract value, which again, bid and ask is showing you there what the cost is. So bid is buyer's price, ask is seller's price. And that's the constant war that's going on, right? Buyers and sellers trying to get contracts for cheaper, trying to sell them for more. And our goal right here and every single day is to purchase contracts that are cheap because we're buying them at the right time based on technical analysis. And then we sell them once they've gained value. And so that's why, again, I reiterate, we are buying to open. We're just buying calls, buying puts. We're never clicking the sell here. And then we're selling to close. And so we don't need to go to this page once we own a contract. you would actually, again, like we started the video on the first tab, the very far left tab, if you're on the mobile app of Robinhood, is your portfolio page, your holdings screen. And I won't show mine just for sake of portfolio privacy. But again, the main bottom left tab on your Robinhood app, your home screen, so to speak, is your portfolio page. That's where you would click the contract you own and then hit trade, hit sell to close that contract. And at that point, you wouldn't have to worry about doing the wrong thing. Have already bought that contract. That's why it's in your portfolio page, and you're selling to close it. So again, this is the buy screen. We'll pull up here in a second. So again, just to refresh, I'm going through it quick. So this can be a quick, options trading video. You can just rewatch over and over if you need. But calls, okay, gain value when the stock price goes up. Put contracts gain value when the stock price goes down. And that, again, is from point of purchase, right? So if I were to purchase any of these puts, hopefully I've done my analysis and I'm entering at a time stock price is going to fall shortly thereafter, because it matters when we sell it. And that's what the dates here at the top are. So we're not going to breeze over those. These are the expiration dates for contracts. The farther you go out in expiration, the more expensive the contracts are, and normally the lower the delta is. But again, the delta can change, the value of the contract can change, so you can see the delta increase, especially as it gets closer to that expiration date. And again, so the cheaper contracts closer to expiration, why is that? Well, just like a gallon of milk or a loaf of bread, contracts expire, they can go bad, they can go sour. So this value you see here, $233, $301, $383, can actually end up looking something like this, right? $1 a contract. How is that possible? Well, the closer we get to expiration, the less the contract is valued for, because of one simple Greek. We can click any contract to see it. Down there at the bottom, we see the Greeks. It is the theta. So over there, the two main Greeks we need to worry about, delta and theta. Theta is known as time decay, okay? Theta, again, T for time is time decay. So as this contract nears expiration, we're actually losing $27 in value on this contract a day. And again, that makes sense. 328 is just a couple of days away here. And again, so we're super close to expiration. It's a very high theta. Whereas if we were to go to, let's say, April 4th, April 5th even, click a same strike, right, 519 put, we see now the theta has basically been cut in half. I mean, we're down down 50%. It's down at 0.11. So you're losing $11 a day if you purchase a 4-5 put. Again, that's if you're holding overnight. You're going to see that loss upon contract value. The theta will increase as it gets closer to expiration, obviously, because time decay, here's the kicker. The whole goal is to get the contract value to zero, just like we saw, $1 contract. Okay, so time is always working against you. But again, this is where analysis comes in, and your delta, D for dollars, is delta. Delta tells you how much you're going to make, assuming the stock price moves in the direction you need. And it tells you how much you're making per dollar. So not per day, but you can actually make that delta per dollar. We just move the decimal 2 to the right, and that gives us the full dollar value there. So again, a put, we need stock price to go down. They're currently selling for about 281 is the bid. The ask is at 284. It's not getting filled right now. But again, that's the range of price right now, $281 to $284. You're going to lose $11 a day if you hold this contract overnight about. And again, that's going to increase. And then you could potentially gain $48 or give or take, because again, those other Greeks come into effect. I'm giving you guys, again, the simplistic basic version of the breakdown. You could potentially, give or take, make $48 for every dollar that SPY drops upon entering this contract. Again, a lot of things matter. You don't want to hold contracts to expiration for that reason. You could see a bunch of profit in one day, hold overnight, and it's possible to actually be negative, right? To have lost enough contract value, all the profit, to where you're now at a loss. So it's very risky taking contracts with high theta, contracts close to the expiration date, because again, goal of theta decay, time decay, is to get you to zero. So the two most important Greeks to know, delta for dollars, how much you can make or lose per dollar movement. Hopefully it moves in the direction you need it to, calls up, puts down. And then theta, time decay, you're going to lose that per day. And it also includes weekends, mind you. So theta doesn't stop just because the market's closed. Anyway, so expiration dates, we understand. The farther you go out, the more expensive, the lower the theta, the lower the delta as well. closer to expiration you go, the higher the delta and the higher the theta normally, right? Because it all makes sense. So buy call, buy put. Hopefully it all makes sense for you. Again, in a nutshell, breaking it down as quick as possible. Again, bid and ask, buyer's price, ask is seller's price. And then you have volume and open interest. So probably the two most important things I would point out next before I close it off here. Volume is going to tell you how many people have traded it. Open interest, how many people are currently holding it. And that is key information because you don't want to buy a contract that has nobody trading it. Low OI, low volume are two indicators that you might want to stay away. Either you've struck a gold mine and you're finding a contract at the right time because it has super high delta, low theta, and hopefully some more people get in with you and trade as you hold so that you can sell for profit. But again, that's the risk. You buy a contract with low OI, as they call it, or low volume. You most likely will see potential loss with profit because you may have profit, but if you can't sell it to anyone, again, you're just a sitting duck until it expires. So always want to check that volume and open interest. But again, from there, it's just about budget. It's about analysis. Are you getting the contract at the right time? Did you get the right contract? And hopefully you get out with profit every single time. Thanks so much for allowing me to walk you through this. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I do all of my education and live streaming daily of the markets in my Discord. Peace.